Okay everybody, this is going to be a video, a quick tutorial on what to wear and what not to wear when working with kids in special education. Let's begin. It's important when you're first starting out in special education and first working with children in the beginning of the year to follow a couple simple rules. When I first start working with a child, I like to dress appropriately. So I wear long sleeve shirts or sweaters for protectionary means for me. It helps with the biting and the scratching, and it just stops you from getting injured, which I think is mandatory. You should wear comfortable shoes because you're going to end up chasing some children at times. Not just playing with them for fun to keep them entertained or whatever, but you will work with some runners, is what we call them, and they like to leave the class in the middle of the class, or they like to just run from the play or from the group, so you have to chase them down. You got to wear pants that are comfortable and flexible. If you go in a skirt or you go in tight pants and you're trying to chase somebody, it gets very, very hard. The same with the shoes. You can't really be in high heels doing that. So you got to be ready to move and be flexible and play with the kids accordingly, and dressing in a suit and tie is very hard to do in that situation. Most people dress appropriately to a certain extent, but not all the way, so this is just to get them on board. What most paras and most teachers do not have on them on a regular basis is rubber gloves. For safety issues, you should have rubber gloves. Kids are always bleeding, and there could be fecal matter or any other things that pop up in this education. So you should always carry rubber gloves. I always keep a set in my back pocket. I don't wear them around. No, that's a little bit, obsessive. But you should have a set with you at all times. It just helps. You never know when you're going to need those. Okay, here are some miscellaneous items that people don't really pay too close attention to when they're working. And these are big ones. Watches and jewelry. Please remove your watches and your jewelry. They are triggers. Kids see them. They want to play with them. They might spark a little too much if you got some diamonds on. And they're also potential harmful instruments to the child if you ever have to restrain them. You don't want to accidentally cut them with your watch or your ring. So that always gets overlooked in the field. I always see that. That is a big mistake that paras and teachers and BTs and OTs should be trained in a little bit better. Just don't wear any of that stuff. It really is a trigger. Perfumes or scented deodorants. This one is a tough one. Kids who have sensory perception disorder may be triggered by perfumes. Deodorants maybe not so much. It has to be really close proximity. But there are teachers and there are people who like to wear colognes and perfumes. You really should not do that in a special ed environment. It could be a trigger and a distraction, and I've heard more than one child complain about the smell. They are very sensitive to lights and smells, and you need to pay very clear attention to that. That is not something that's talked about when you first go to work in a special ed classroom, so it's something that people need to understand. Glasses, those are a big distraction. When they're on your face or when you're got them in your shirt, sometimes I carry them in my shirt. They can be a big distraction, and kids like to grab them and try to put them on. And they're potential hazards, weapon that could be used against you. So please, if you have contacts, wear them. If you have glasses, kind of limit the glass wearing if it becomes a distraction. Be aware if it is distracting a child. Walkie-talkies and lanyards. Walkie-talkies when in the classroom should really be put away and all the way down unless you know there's a safety issue taking place that day in the class. Other than that, I would, in the lanyards, I'm not a fan of lanyards at all. I think that those are very bad for BTs and OTs, and even though they identify us, there needs to be another way to identify people walking on campuses, because those are, kids grab at those all the time. And they have a hard plastic at the end of them, and it's just something that you don't want to be grabbed at and have a kid pull it from behind, and you can actually get hurt and get choked with it. It is a potential choking hazard, and it's just a distraction as well, because if you're wearing it, the kid always sees it, and it's just, I'm not a fan at all. I actually think they should give us long-sleeved shirts with that say staff on it, staff development or whatever. So that's my opinion on those.